right, hey everybody, I am Damian Holbrook from TV Guide Magazine. And if you are in this room, you love the 100, or the 100, sorry, as much as I do. And let's get that straight, it is the 100. I'm gonna bring out our panel. First we have executive producer Jason Rothenberg. We have our Eliza Taylor. Mr. Isaiah Washington, our fearless leader. Miss Marie Avgeropoulos. Mr. Ricky Whittle and his abs. Devin Bostic. And Lindsay Morgan.
Selfie.
All right, we're doing selfies. All right. Okay, so first, how about a round of applause for that amazing first season, you guys? All right, so first off, Jason, obviously the way you started the show with them dropping down to Mount Weather, you knew where this show was going.
Yeah, we had a good sense at the beginning where the season would end, for sure. We set out from Mount Weather, we made it to Mount Weather. That was the plan.
Okay, one question that I have to ask immediately from that clip. If the plan was to drop them on Mount Weather, is it possible that the grown-ups on the Ark knew what was going on Mount Weather?
Well, it would be possible, but no.
Okay. All right, so the finale, you totally blow our minds with this twist. When you were putting this together and you realized that you were doing this, did you know when you started this show that things like Jasper had to live?
No, you know, the truth is, and we've said this before, he was so amazing. He was supposed to die in the pilot. In the script, he died. But he was so good when we were shooting that the other executive producer who's not with the show anymore and I sort of knew we had to figure it out. And we also knew we would probably take some heat for the fact that that spear was pretty intense, and yet he survived. So we wanted to make sure that it hurt and that it took him a little while to actually move around again. And he wasn't very challenged by the first couple episodes.
I'm just happy that, you know, Clark found some good tea and a little seaweed. And,
It's me.
yeah, I'm happy to be on my
things.
feet again. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Clark, Eliza, you
Hi.
crushed it as an action hero this year.
Oh,
this
thank
was
you.
like, mother of God. Did you realize this role was going to be so physical when you signed on?
No, I didn't. Obviously, when I read the first episode, I thought she was a super strong, cool character, but the evolution, like, since then, from beginning to end, has been so huge, and I've done things acting-wise that I didn't know I could do. It's really been a huge experience for me personally.
And the great thing was that when we first met these guys, I thought it was going to be Octavia who was going to be like the real badass, but then we find out that she's got like this gooey romantic center. Marie, what was that like finding out that, you know, like this girl with a massive chip on her shoulder was going to become the romantic heroine here?
Yeah, it's been such a pleasure and a lot of fun to play Octavia because she's evolved and grown so much. She came onto the ground with her walls up and just was used to people treating her so poorly, being locked under the floor, wrongfully accused, and then her brother trying to keep her wrapped around his little finger. And, you know, then she meets Lincoln and knows what it's like to be wrongfully accused for something, and there you find the Shakespearean forbidden romance story.
I think that character is becoming kind of a badass also. I think she's like becoming a grounder in almost every sense of the word. I think we'll see that continue in season 2.
Is that like
Much more
converting? Is she
intensely.
converting?
She's converting to
Grounderism?
grounderism.
Yeah.
She thinks she's a damn ninja, you know?
And Ricky, all right, so you're a series regular in season 2, so welcome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
It does not mean I'm safe, though. I'm just
No. But what does this mean for Linktavia?
for Linktavia. Well, it's you know, season 2 is just really going to be a progression of season 1. You know, I always hashtag on Twitter, "Dark just got darker." After seeing the first couple episodes of season 2, we're taking it way out the park. It's insane. So we're just going to see, you know, an evolution of these characters. You're going to see layers. You're going to see more of the worlds that we've kind of had glimpses in. You're going to see them through Lincoln's eyes and things like that. And it's going to get really dark for everyone, not just Lincoln, Octavia, Linktavia. And it's going to be very exciting.
So speaking of who is here, also on our panel is Isaiah Washington, who the last time we saw had like a minute of air left or something. So super honorable, going down with this ship, not a great idea as far as like career longevity.
Right?
What can you tell us about this guy? Is he like up there holding his breath?
Is that a raven? Is that Raven right there?
Yes.
We get her to stand up.
Is that Raven?
Can we get Raven to stand
Is that a
up?
raven?
Raven.
Get up!
Stand
Raven,
up.
can we stand up?
Hey!
Nailed it.
Oh boy, that's Raven. Any more characters out there from the 100?
Look at Jaha deflecting.
I don't know. That's Jaha Raven. Oh no, that's a camera. I'm sorry. I can't really speak on Jaha at the moment because it's really special.
And
It's
what
really,
what
really
has it been
special.
like for you as one of the, no offense to the rest of the team, but like one of the grown-ups? How has it been? You haven't gotten to work with these guys.
Well, second season, you know, it's really special.
So I have to ask, will season 2 feature an increase in romance at all, or will it just be more like casual survivor sex?
Probably,
Wow.
probably more like casual survivor sex. The truth is, the love story, I think, is important. It has its place for sure, but it's always going to be, for us, sort of that icing on the cake is maybe even too strong a term for it. It's a show about survival. There's some really serious things happening. And, you know, I always say it's like nobody really cares who's, I shouldn't say nobody. I don't really care who's sleeping with who when it's a spear could come from around the next tree, or a grounder could grab you and, you know, take your sister. So, you know, it's more about survival. Romance will come.
Okay.
And
Well, so I've told-
Linktavia is
I've
a
told-
genuine romance.
I've told Jason I'm not taking my clothes off again. Episode 4, that was enough.
Is it? For you, Lindsay, like say,
You are doing that.
say should Bellamy show up with as many body parts
With
as
roses.
he needs, do you think that she'll go back for more?
She'll go back for more.
He'll come back for more?
He'll come back.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
What's up?
Didn't you beg him? No? Didn't Raven beg him?
Whatever.
I mean,
Who left? Okay. Who left? Let's say that.
afterwards, I mean,
Let's
he's
just
just
say
like,
that.
sweet.
Who left wanting them for more? Okay.
You don't want to talk? Cuddle? No?
No.
All right.
I got bombs to build.
All right, so what were the harshest conditions you guys had to work in? Because you guys filmed through almost all of the seasons in Canada.
That one night, so I think it was episode 4, when we were on the cliff and Charlotte jumps off the cliff. That was like 4 o'clock in the morning, torrential rain and actual cliff. That was like one of the longest, hardest days I think we had.
What about you guys down there?
Episode 10 for when I'm building the bomb on the bridge.
Yeah.
There's snow on that bridge. I'm just laying, and there was one shot we were doing an aerial view, and I'm just laying there, and I'm like this big, and yeah, it was intense.
Brutal.
It's nice being back in Canada, because that's where I'm from. But it's and to live through the seasons and stuff. It's always sunny and beautiful in LA. You know, not like I'm gonna complain. Oh, another sunny, beautiful day. But yeah, we lived through like the bug season. I remember shooting the butterfly scene and going, and a bee flew right in my mouth. That should be on the blooper reel.
And Ricky, you're wearing like the world's biggest bathrobe, basically.
I mean, yeah, it's actually quite nice to be wearing some layers for once. You know? When I kind of came into it, I was kind of stripped naked and had a nice 8-hour call time in the mornings to get those tattoos and the scars and the fake abs and.
Fake abs,
right.
yeah.
But yeah, so it was every time Lincoln's naked or topless, it's 8 hours in a makeup chair, and that's a tough shout. So anytime Lincoln's wearing his furs and all his layers, I'm a happy boy. I might be sweating, I might be losing a few pounds under there, but it's I'd rather a small cool time in the morning.
And are we going to find out more about these tattoos?
Yeah, we probably will. We're going to definitely find out that all the grounders sort of mark themselves for kills. And so, you know, Lincoln's got all these bumps on his back. I'm not sure we've ever told the story on screen yet, but they know each and every, person who they've killed, and it's not to sort of glorify the death, it's actually to sort of memorialize the person in honor of that person. Lincoln's got something like, I don't know, 15 or so back there.
I know how many.
We're going to meet a character, we'll meet a character pretty early in season 2, another Grounder woman warrior, and she's got so many that it's like spilling off onto her arm.
She's got more than me.
What?
She's got more than me.
She has more than you?
Come on.
Dude, this is a very female-centric show. The women ask.
Yeah.
I was the badass.
Not a surprise that the female Grounder would have it on you. And clearly there's still at least one tattoo parlor alive on Earth, which is awesome. And I hear also that we have a Grounder language.
We do. Yeah, we find out pretty early this season that the only Grounders we've heard speak so far are Lincoln and Anya and maybe Tristan. They're all warriors, and the warriors speak English because that's the language of their enemy, perhaps in Mount Weather. And they, when they go home, this Creole version of English has sort of evolved over 3 generations. And so we'll begin to hear that more and more. We got the guy who did the languages for Game of Thrones, created this really amazing English Creole for us. Marie, want to give us a little taste?
Elec, Octavia, come Sky Crew, and I gaff go through clear.
What's that mean?
I feel like I'm in school again. Oh, my producer's asking me what it means. I am Octavia of the Sky Crew, and I seek safe passage.
Something like that.
I come
Translation.
in peace.
And where exactly is she seeking safe passage to?
He is good.
Ooh, probing.
He's
probing.
persistent.
All right, so much death this season. Do any of you worry that you could have been killed off as the season progressed?
It's scary. It's a hostile.
Work environment.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You get threats on Twitter like, "Hey, watch what you say." Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like the writers' room being like, "If you're nice to us, maybe you'll live." And I was like, "What? This is such a hostile friendship. Like, how am I supposed to be friends with you if you're threatening my death?"
Something we wanted to ask also is, where the hell is Murphy?
I love Murphy.
Where is Murphy? Did he get killed in the finale? I can't remember.
Oh, Murphy is
He
strong.
ran away.
Okay, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
Murphy's strong. He's strong in season
Murphy's a
2.
cockroach.
Knowing
Cockroaches
Murphy's,
do not die.
Murphy's just lying in a bunch of mud right now.
Yeah.
Just like,
Murphy's strong.
like barely. This is my idea of Murphy. He's just always in trouble. So he's just in a big pile of mud. It's probably manure.
One of the things that we're trying to do with him in season 2 is to show that he's not just a cockroach, that he's actually a kid who got that way somehow. And I think episode 1 begins to show some layers, that he's not just a, stereotypical black and white character.
And then he dies.
And then we put a spear through his heart.
Isaiah, you had it pretty easy this season where you got to be in like a soundstage with air conditioning and craft services and trailers. Should your character make it to the ground, are you ready to kind of rough it? Or is it just going to be special?
Is that a Finn? Is that a Finn over there? Or is that Bellamy? I think that's a Bellamy. Stand up, man. No, I'm sorry, it was not. No, it's not. I'm sorry.
That was a really good distraction.
So let's go without spoiling anything. How would you feel if you had to rough it?
It would be special.
Okay.
It would be special. And I promise you, Jason will not let you down.
Okay. All right.
I assure you of that.
So going down the panel, starting with Lindsay, I want you guys to say your favorite scene from the first season
that's
that
a
the
question.
person next to you got to do.
Oh.
What?
Are we going to let them ask some questions?
I love any time Jasper goes, Grounders! The best.
That's
It's my favorite of you.
that's real nice.
It's true.
That's nice.
I mean it.
All right. My favorite Lincoln moment. Jeez. I mean, right now. I'd have to say, I like when I like the idea of Lincoln just drawing in his cave. Like when we see his drawings, but we never get to see him on his downtime. And that's what I like to imagine, is like just him, taking some time to draw a picture. Like good for you, Lincoln. Yeah. There is still a little art and culture in this world, That and, whenever he's being whipped and there's like 6 packs, 8 packs, it makes me feel great.
Good times. Good times.
This internet is going to be blown up tonight.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate to work with majority of my stuff has been with Marie. And I get to look at this beautiful woman every day on set, and she blows me away with the stuff that she comes up with and the choices that she makes. So I couldn't even narrow it down to what we do. No, oh, stop it. No, seriously. I know. But seriously, you're so good. No, but she is, and she does blow me away. It's awesome, and I get to see her. Her character's grown so much. At the beginning, she was this bratty kid fighting against the authority, and she's grown into this great warrior. Lincoln's been turning her into this grounder, this woman who can look after herself. She's really grown throughout it, and Marie has chosen to. The choices that she's done, and you've seen that character grow, and I think that's all. It's all credit to her. I think at the beginning you maybe weren't too keen on Octavia and her attitude with everyone, and towards the end, you really do pull for her, and you realize all her decisions and all her sacrifices that she made, and it's Marie who's making those choices as well as obviously our writers and things, but she really is bringing our writers' ideas to life. So I couldn't even narrow it down. It's just an honor to work with her.
Well, that was very nice. Thank you.
Linktavia forever.
Isaiah, he just brings so much strength to all his performances, and just playing the leader on the Ark has been just such a crazy journey to watch. And every time I see your scenes, I go, when do I get to work with Isaiah? I wanna see what it's like to have a scene with you, because my family's a very big fan of yours. So they're just like, when do you get to work with him? But definitely in the finale, everyone was very taken by you. And those were fantastic scenes, and you always bring it to everything.
When he says he lost his son,
Can I just say, I lost my son.
Yeah.
I got chills.
Yeah.
I want to make a T-shirt. I got chills. I'm like,
Sad
do
t-shirt.
you realize you're doing TV? That was an epic feature film moment where you're just like,
Yes. Epic. When you're left alone up there and everything.
Isaiah Washington.
Yeah, I don't think that.
did
I don't
it
know if
again.
that T-shirt's gonna sell
That's
too
a
well.
terrible T-shirt. That is
Well,
horrible, horrible.
I'll
T-shirt.
just make one then, and I'll wear it.
What about Jaha out?
I'm gonna keep it simple. I love all these guys. I love all of their performances and their evolution. And I was a big fan of this Game of Thrones moment on the ground with Joseph Gatt and everyone doing their battles, and everyone, the horse with the double head, and then watching the Ark come down. That was pretty. That sealed the deal for me. And I got to tell you, if you really enjoyed the season finale, you definitely need to hold on to your boots and your hats by the time we get to episode 3. That's for sure.
You don't need to say anything about me. It's fine.
Deflect.
I'm all right. I'm cool.
Next question.
And I really enjoyed. Oh, come on! You know I love you. Get out of here.
Is that Monty? Did you say Monty?
No! No!
Monty.
No! That's Eliza right there.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. She had to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom. But that's her. That's Clark.
Tell us about a scene. Yeah, I remember. There's so many.
Anyway.
I'm trying to get to their questions. We're out of time.
What can I say about Jason's
No.
scenes?
No, you can say it about Lindsay.
Lindsay, all right. My favorite moment, hands down, was when you see her vulnerable side when she's really sick in episode 10 and she breaks up with Finn. It actually made me cry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, when she gave up the
When
Necklace.
The necklace, yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
Origami thing.
All right, so you left us with an amazing battle scene, which was so Braveheart. The Grounder barbecue. Everyone was invited. The arrival of the Reapers, which are still haunting me, and the Mountain Men. So can you give us a taste of what season 2 is going to look like?
Well, I mean, I can say for sure, I mean, we're going to explain all of those various groups in detail. Pretty quickly, we'll begin to understand how they relate to each other, where they came from, why they are the way that they are. And the season really, in some level, is about that. It's about expanding this playing field and getting into all of these various groups. Lincoln as a character lets us go into the Grounder world and really begin to know them and understand them. And one of the things I'm excited about is that we turn the ship on the Grounders, and they're not this sort of monolithic bad guy, force. They're actually pretty decent and want to survive. And the 100 had their own sort of, fault in what happened and in from their perspective. And so, that's as much as I'll say. I don't want to really get into like how they came about or who they are yet.
All right. And Eliza, I will tell you that my favorite stuff was with Anya. The Clark Anya stuff.
you.
And I'm guessing, Jason, that you are going to capitalize on how great these two characters are together.
Yeah, there'll be some interesting stuff probably between them coming up.
Probably.
Is that spoilery? I don't know. She's a great. Deechin Lockman, who plays Anya, I think has created a really interesting character, and she and Clark have an interesting sort of hate relationship, which probably won't go much further than hate for a while.
Yeah, because she shows up and she's all badass in her leather and her like bad eyeliner, and I'm like, Clark could take her in a heartbeat.
Oh,
Are
thank
kidding?
you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so then can you just give us a hint? Who would you say is worse? The Grounders, the Reapers, or the Mountain Men?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
The Reapers, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
they're just purely evil on some physical level. It's not like, it depends what you consider worse. I almost gave something away.
Well, they seem to keep
Don't
they
do
seem
it.
to keep large piles of half-living bodies around.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so that goes into worst column. How can you give us, how are the parents and the grown-ups going to handle, because you've got Abby and Kane now, about to discover a dropship covered with charred bodies.
Right, that's the other thing I'm sort of the most excited about, is that we've got all these characters now on the ground for the most part, except for one, and they will now get to play, just from a writer's perspective, these actors that I've been working with now for the last year and wishing we could put together in some scenes, we'll get to do that. That's exciting. So, whether we see Marie and Isaiah together is a big question mark, but we'll definitely see some strange pairings coming up. And yeah, we're going to play thematically with the idea that these kids in the first season were in control. They came to sort of take control of their destinies, and now that's taken away from them when, for lack of a better word, mom and dad show up and say, okay,
Party's over.
playing. Right, party's over. And that'll be kind of screwed up because these guys know how to survive down there, and the people who are saying, give us the keys to the car, actually don't know how to drive it. And so we'll see some interesting drama, conflict coming from that.
One of the fans wrote in, wanted to know, will we have flashbacks from the Ark?
Maybe.
Okay. And then the visual effects and costumes for the show are so unique and elaborate. How did you decide what you wanted this world to really look like?
It's a funny thing when you have something in your head and then these amazing artists sort of interpret it, from the writers to our Viz effects team at Zoic, who just got nominated for an Emmy, which is pretty crazy. We just write words down, and then these people actually make it look the way that it finally ends up looking, and that's been a really cool experience for me.
And do any of you kind of like look at other shows and kind of envy them that they don't have to put on like filthy, dirty American
No, we love
Apparel?
that.
The sweatier and dirtier and bloodier, the better.
Yeah.
Our makeup's so quick. Like, I'd rather be in dirt than sit in an hour getting purdy.
Or 3 hours.
Or 3 hours like Ricky. 'cause
Like this morning.
It takes a lot for them.
I was talking about this morning.
It takes a lot for Ricky to look nice.
That's just mean.
A lot.
All right, we are going to go to some audience questions. So you guys want to line up right at this microphone?
Oh, that was quick. He was like on a
right on
sprint
it.
there.
The truth is, if you take somebody out of their sort of nation of origin, And within a few years, their accent begins to fade, right? If your mother came from Mexico, let's say, you were born here, you probably wouldn't have a Mexican accent. And then when you put 3 generations into that, you definitely wouldn't. And so these people on the Ark, it actually would have been less realistic if we had them all running around in their, in their native tongues than it is right now. The reason it's an American accent that we chose is, I think, fairly obvious. It's just that it's for the CW, which is an American television network. So, but the fact that they all speak the same, I think, is probably more realistic than if we did the other thing. Yes, it is. It was definitely intentional. Again, this all goes back to this idea that it's not about, these people are in a life and death struggle, and so they were able to overcome their soap opera dilemma in order to survive, and I think ultimately respect each other. I'm particularly fond of the relationship between Clark and Raven, who, could have fought over the same guy, and a lot of shows might have done that. But we chose to have these 2 really powerful women sort of recognize the strength in the other and the necessity of the other to the group. And that was by design. And they pulled it off brilliantly. I don't think necessarily that the people in Mount Weather knew that they were there until they blew up that bridge in episode 10. The story that we tell there is there's like a mushroom cloud goes up when they blow up that bridge, and the mushroom cloud is obviously the iconic image of the end of the world that they would all have grown up sort of fearing. And when Lincoln, I think, has a scene with Octavia where he says, "You have no idea what you've done, the mountain men will come and they'll kill us all," something like that.
It was just like that.
That was it, yeah.
You kind of did it better.
So that's the moment that sort of woke the sleeping giant. And then it was only a couple episodes until they waited to actually come and intervene. We started with the Lord of the Flies scenario, obviously, and it was always in the plan that it was going to be, will they be able to overcome their whatever the hell we want versus the keep order conflict, their personal conflict, in time to survive this sort of external threat that was out there. And so now that the grown-ups are on the ground, it's going to, the story changes, I think, fairly significantly. It's not so much, in some ways, those people that were at each other's throats on the ground, the 100, are now a band of brothers who are hardened from being in this sort of survival environment, and they experience this thing that nobody else experienced. And so they look at each other, even people like Murphy, believe it or not, and some of the others, when they see each other, have a lot more in common than they do with their friends and their parents who now are on the ground potentially. And that'll be interesting going forward to see how that plays out, I think.
I think Thomas McDonnell has something wild about him that would really work in this kind of situation. He's a wild card, and I think you'd need someone like that to get you through. Yeah, I think he might actually be a tracker. I don't know. But he seems like he always knows what he's doing, whether he does or not. He just seems like some kind of jungle boy.
I think that's our cue. So we've got to stop now. I'm going to thank all of you guys. Let's give a round of applause to our amazing panel. And look for season 2 this fall.